It's the wind chill. Boom, 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 boom.
As you can see, that vandal badly damaged the car and spray painted the words, "Mike is a cheater," all over the vehicle. Well, the veteran who owns the car told us
I want you to look at every level of office around you and support Democrats who actually fight, because those are the ones that can win against Republicans.
I would not be telling you the truth if I didn't tell you that within the Democratic Party, there are billionaires who have undue influence. Democrats have turned their backs on the working class of this country.
That was Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez drawing more than 30,000 supporters in Denver on Friday.
By the way, chat. By the way, that argument that the left is the only people that will actually fight the right has been the strategy that I've been trying to get them to pursue for literally 9 years. I've been trying to get people to be like, these centrist Democrats love Republicans. If you hate Republicans, you need to vote for us. That has always been I've been trying to get people to do that strategy for years and years and years and years and years. And here's my issue. Is I don't even really understand the strategy that people are pretending to pursue here, right? Which is like, we're going to run as independents, which means we're going to be running, let's say we're in an average district, right? If you run as an independent, it'll have one of two outcomes. Either you're in a district that's so left wing that the Republicans are just can't win, which is very, very few districts if you split the vote two ways, right? Like if you're splitting the vote 30-30-30, then, the places Republicans could win on a first past the post basis massively increases, right? So that's the first concern, right? Which is, okay, you want to run as an independent, and the Democrats are not going to give it up to you in seats like that, right? They're going to run to the end. And so you're going to be fighting Democrats as well as Republicans already, right? But you're going to be doing it as an independent with no backup? Or you're in districts where the Democrats have to stand down because they have no chance anyway. Okay, if there's a lot of districts where you could win, but the Democrats stand down because they have no chance to win, why the fuck are you running as an independent and not as a third party? If your ideas are popular, but the Democratic brand is shit, why the fuck aren't you running as a third party anyway? Why aren't you? And by the way, it's not third party. It's new biggest party. Okay? Third party implies you're a loser. We want to make the Democrat a third party. Like, that's what we want to do. We don't want a third party. We want to make the Democrats into the third party. And I think this is my problem with Bernie and AOC in general. Like, my biggest criticism of them is the idea of, people can just run and we'll see who wins. That's not how they do it on the other side. That's not how the centrists do it. The centrists don't go, well, we'll just see who wins. And we'll very selectively support people. No, they say, are you an ideological neoliberal? Are you a big law member? Are you an oil and gas executive? Are you CIA? Here's millions of dollars. We'll do fundraisers for you. Do you hate abortion? We'll do fundraisers for you. Are you anti-trans? We'll do fundraisers for you. That's how the centrist Democrats operate. They don't sit back and go, well, we'll figure it out. Corrupt corporate Dems are the handmaids of the right. This is why the left must primary more sitting Democrats. September 17th, 2019. Yeah, I've been trying to get people to use this argument for a very, very long time, which is, if you hate the Republicans, you can't vote for centrist Democrats. Fundamentally, I just don't have any faith in the Democratic Party as an organization to be good faith. So I don't have faith that they'll be good faith. Not very well written, but you get my point. Basically, let's assume the Democrats do win a bunch of primaries, right? The left. The Democratic Party is not represented by the person you agree with the most who's a member of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party's policies are the policies of the most right-wing Democrat in the Senate. So many people like to look at the Democratic Party and see Bernie Sanders' proposals and go like, "Oh, look how left-wing the Democrats are." No, it's not. The Democrats' party's policies are the policies of Joe Manchin, John Fetterman, Kyrsten Sinema. Those are our policies. It's not the policies of Bernie Sanders. It's not the policies of AOC. It's not the policy of the Progressive Caucus. It is the policy of the most right-wing Democrat, the one who gets you over the hump. And in my opinion, that's not worth fighting for. And I think the Democratic Party would be stronger without those people in it. And this is fundamentally this is the point of disagreement. Either you believe that if the Democratic Party was a progressive party that could deliver real material change for people in their actual lives, right? That would make them more popular. That's my opinion, right? If a charismatic leader deployed real material change and made people's lives better, the Democratic Party would be more popular than it is today. That is my political belief. Why do I believe that? American history, FDR, LBJ's landslide, various other examples throughout our history of when you go big, you win big. As far as contemporary examples, I look to Mexico with Morena basically breaking the two-party system there. It was really a 1.5 party system and completely annihilating the standard corporate parties and now has an 80-something% approval rating after 6.5 years in power of delivering for everyday Mexicans. So I see it happening there. And so my political beliefs are premised on the idea that when you do good shit, people will like you more. And people who don't now think of themselves as even entertaining voting for a politician would love that politician. This is my point. And so getting rid of people like Joe Manchin, getting rid of people like John Fetterman, getting rid of people like Kyrsten Sinema, getting rid of people like Elise Slotkin, that doesn't make the Democrats weaker. It makes them stronger. And this is the fundamental disagreement. Either you believe that to be true or you don't. If you think that's wrong, if you think we need Manchin and we need Sinema, or else the Republicans would be winning even more, then you don't agree with me and we never will agree. We'll never agree. If you think the people cannot be fundamentally changed, politics is roughly where it is now, and it's going to remain where it is now, and we're going to be balancing on a knife edge forever. If that's what you think, then you won't agree with me. And I got to tell you, you're dumb because you haven't read a fucking book, and you don't even know what this country is like in your own lifetime. There's no evidence for your completely cockamamie belief other than status quo bias.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Good.
After the rally about whether the Democratic Party can do anything to slow President Trump's agenda.
Bernie is back.
Hey, Mr. Trump, people fought and died to create a democratic society. You're not going to take it away from us.
83-year-old independent Senator Bernie Sanders is drawing crowds even bigger than he did as a presidential candidate.
Feeling the burn.
Yeah. For the past...
Well, I mean, part of the reason why he's drawing more people is because he's not running for president, right? And so this is coming out of left field. This is what you guys don't get. I think a lot of people have been asking, what is the point of this? And I want to explain to you what the point is. The point is, one, to show that people are resisting Trump, that they don't agree with what Trump is doing, number one, which is incredibly important. Because if you don't show a bunch of people saying they don't agree with it, then there's going to be more compliance and more surrender. So just from the point of view of, the conversation of whether what Trump is doing is popular or not, this is incredibly important for that. Number two, the establishment doesn't expect it, right? The establishment is getting fucking blindsided because it's not a presidential cycle, right? And they only do rallies when they can get something from you. Bernie Sanders going around and doing rallies is something that they don't expect. The third thing is he's changing the conversation. Who are the people that are actually fighting Trump? Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are saying, we're too weak. We can't fight back. There's nothing we can do. Oh, no. Oh, guess we have to pass all your policies. Oh, bleh. Bernie Sanders is saying we can fight back. And so the rank and file Democrat, it has a choice. Bernie Sanders hates Trump and is fighting Trump, or Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are enabling Trump. And so this creates a situation where Bernie and the people who align with him are more popular among the base. And that sets us up in the future. And then finally, hopefully, and I hope they get better at this, organizing people into local organizations. Now, if you have a DSA chapter, if you have a PSL chapter, and you are not going out there to organize people, and I want you to understand something, chat. The strategy to organize should not be Bernie Sanders is a sellout. We're the real people. We're the real resistors. If that's your strategy, you're a fucking idiot. You should be going out there and saying, we are the people in the community that are doing shit to fight back and pressure our representatives and pressure our politicians and pressure our systems here. So if you want to fight back, join us. That should be using your that's the opportunity. You're getting all these people, right? I'll give you an analogy to as a Twitch streamer. Let's say I have the opportunity to go on Hasan's stream, or I have the opportunity to go on Asmongold's stream. Which stream? And then when I go on the streams, I have two strategies. On the Asmongold stream, I can kiss Asmongold's ass, or I could be confrontational with Asmongold. Similarly with Hasan, I could go on Hasan's stream and be confrontational with Hasan, or I could kiss Hasan's ass. Which is going to result in more people coming over to my stream in the future? The answer is, if I'm going up against Asmongold, confrontational. If I'm going on Hasan's stream, ass kissing. Why? Because the Hasan viewers agree with me on 99% of things. So if I go and am confrontational with Hasan, I'm going to be repulsing people who are mostly aligned with me, that mostly are on my side, who I could persuade with gentle persuasion. I don't need to do a lot of movement. You're almost there. So you're listening to what I'm saying. Right? You're open to me. If I go on Asmongold's stream and I kiss his ass, then he disagrees with me on everything. So everybody who already agrees with me is going to be disgusted by how much of a fucking bootlicking piece of shit I am. Right? And all of his people none of them are going to come over to me because they don't agree with me on anything. They come over and hear me talking on my own, they're immediately going to be repulsed. But if I go there and confront him, then the persuadable people in the audience are going to be like, oh, this guy has a different perspective. And some of them are going to listen to the argument. Many of them won't. But it's not just me fighting Asmongold and his viewers coming to watch me. Other people would watch me confronting Asmongold, and they would come along to me. So basically what I'm trying to say is, at the Bernie Sanders rally, the strategy that you should be pursuing is not to attack Bernie, not to attack AOC, but to be Bernie Sanders plus, AOC plus. Because that's where the people who are showing up to a Bernie Sanders rally are. And then later you could talk about problems that you have with Bernie Sanders and AOC once you've established trust and once you've established good faith. And you could be like, AOC and Bernie Sanders are wrong about X, Y, and Z. But we're showing solidarity on X, Y, and Z. It's a very, very simple point. You go and you operate according to a strategy that is going to bring the masses to you, not separate yourself from the masses and put yourself on some sort of pedestal of enlightenment. Who gives a fuck? So you're saying Jenks and Newsom's tactics are the wrong approach? Exactly. And it's being proven experimentally right. Right? Like, you can see it. Like, Gavin Newsom's approval rating is crashing among Democrats. It's not going up among Republicans. They don't respect that guy. It's just crashing among Democrats because he's kissing the ass of fucking enemies. Fight your enemies and hug your friends. And here's the thing about Bernie and AOC. I think a lot of people don't like, the number one criticism I get is that Mike is a sock dem who likes Bernie and AOC. And it's very funny because it couldn't be farther from the truth. It couldn't be farther from the truth. The answer is I am hiding my power level and going where the masses are to convert as many people as I can to a worldview that they would never otherwise consider, but for the entree that Bernie Sanders and AOC give me. I'm doing the strategies that other political ideologies have done very well, which is create a pipeline. Don't punch left. I only punch right. And the normal, everyday, average person, in their mind, and if you disagree with this, you are fucking wrong. All right, this is the most important point. This is the disagreement I have with people like Adam Panada. For the average everyday person, Bernie Sanders and AOC are the left. I'll say that again. For the average everyday American, Bernie Sanders and AOC are the left. Isn't punching anarchists punching left? No, anarchists are just liberals. And so I know that they're not. AOC and Bernie Sanders are not the left. They're the center. They're centrists. But they're the actual centrists. They are the actual centrists. They are the people that we should be arresting in our new utopian society as being reactionary. That's my goal. My goal for my politics is to make Bernie and Sanders and AOC seem like right-wingers. But you don't do that by isolating yourself off in some sort of academic bubble and social bubble. You say, okay, what are people excited about when they watch Bernie Sanders and AOC? Are they excited about supporting, some sort of mush-mouthed, like, liberal Zionism? Are they excited about, what are they excited about? What are they talking about? They're talking about peaceful foreign policy. They're excited about expanding the social safety net. They're excited about a Green New Deal. And the Green New Deal, by the way, just in case you didn't know this, if you're a fucking dumbass, has a foreign policy aspect of giving a lot of money to developing countries to help them develop without using, not doing it in a USAID, we're going to replace your government way, but rather to help them get out from under American and European neo-colonialism. It's part of the Green New Deal. It's a 21st century good neighbor policy. And so, if you don't agree with me on this, you're just out of touch. I don't know what else to say. The average everyday person doesn't know what PSL is. The average everyday leftist doesn't know what PSL is. And it's not because they're wrong about shit. Actually, I think a lot of the people that are cranky lefties are mostly right about things. The problem is not that you're right. The problem is that you don't have the masses. And I don't think shitting on Bernie and AOC is going to achieve you the masses support that you think it is. If anything, it's going to disempower, deorganize people. And that's the opposite of what I want to do. I want to build up. And it's the same thing. I mean, Lenin talks about this. It's like a lot of ultras are like, oh no, trade unions are reactionary. And it's like, that's where the masses are, dummy. That's why you're helping people gain class consciousness. That's why you're giving people collective economic power, you dumbass. It doesn't matter if they have reactionary tendencies. It doesn't matter if trade union consciousness is the peak of what they're going to naturally develop. You're right. And it's still worth gaining. But Bernie and company are also betraying the masses by not guiding them to any real organization. Of course they are. And soldiers are imperialists. Soldiers are just men and women with military skills. That's all a soldier is. Do you want to have people with military skills on your side in a civil war? Yes or no? Imperialists are the ones who order the soldiers to do imperialism, not the soldier. The soldier's a guy. And yeah, a lot of soldiers commit horrifying crimes that are not good people. Who gives, what's your point? So fucking what? Are you here to do some sort of Christian penance? Is that what you want me to tell you is a good idea? Here's what we need. We need a lot of people who know how to do L-shaped ambushes on our side. That's what we need. There's a reason why the Russian Revolution and the Chinese Revolution won. They had military skills on their side. Now, it doesn't mean that joining the military is good and that you're doing good things and that nothing is wrong. No, a lot of people in the military did horrifyingly evil shit in the name of the United States of America, the imperialist power. Yeah, no shit. And the same was true of military members who fought for the, for the Russians and for the Chinese nationalists. What I'm trying to say is, you go where the masses are, but you also try to maintain your leftist character. And it's a difficult balancing act. AOC and Bernie are priming people to fight. It's our job to go out there and organize and harvest those people to fight. Exactly. Bernie Sanders is, if you're a left winger right now, what Bernie Sanders and AOC are doing for you is a goddamn gift. If you can't see that, you're dumber than dirt. They're going around and concentrating the most like-minded people in one place that for you to go and talk to. They're making it easier than ever. This is the most fertile ground for radicalization that you're ever going to see in your entire fucking life. And you're criticizing it? Get off your ass and do something, you dumb fuck. Like, that is the reality. Some of us actually signed up because we cared about our fellow man. I didn't know what socialism... I mean, listen. I don't care why somebody joined the military, unless it was to like kill people like a psychopath. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I just know that in war is fought by people who know how to fight it. And when you say we don't want anybody with military skills on our side, you are begging to be killed. And the other thing is, you're stupid because if you look at Americans, they like soldiers. They trust our military members. So if military members are completely alienated from your side, you're missing out on an opportunity, which is you should take disillusioned people from the military who come out and say, what they're making us fight for is wrong. I went out to that battlefield and they committed crimes and I regret it. And these people are bad. That is an important, persuasive position to have on your side. Because I don't give a shit about the past. I care about the future. Now, there are limits to that. But that should be your orientation. Because if we were just like, okay, only perfect people could join our movement, then you're going to have nobody. Malta 1, thank you for the 5 tier 1s. That's just, and if you study history, winning movements are the ones who are converting people, are converting their enemies to allies. You want to win?
This month, Sanders has taken his fight against President Donald Trump on the road. He's billing it the Fighting Oligarchy Tour.
We will not allow America to become an oligarchy.
In Denver, the anti-Trump sentiment was strong.
Oh, I think it's a disaster. And he talks about he has a mandate. He never had a mandate.
But so was the frustration with Democrats.
How's the Democratic Party doing challenging this?
They got to be a little tougher.
Quit being a bunch of doormats.
It feels like we're left stranded when everything feels like it's crumbling.
Tour's Western swing.
Thank you. Okay, so these are normal people. These are people who are libs. They don't know what the fuck is going on. They're not leftists. They're wine moms. This is how I know somebody's not in their community. If you don't have and organized a bunch of women that look exactly like this, then you're not in touch with your community. Because here's the dirty little secret, you fucking internet gremlins. Women like this are the ones that are holding up every fucking mutual aid organization that you can come up with. So I know somebody is fake as fuck if they're like, who cares about wine moms? It's like, what? Well, then you do nothing then. You literally do nothing. I know that 100% off the bat.
A bunch of doormats.
It feels like we're
Stop being a bunch of doormats.
left stranded when everything
Being
feels
left
like it's
stranded.
crumbling.
Tour's Western swing, Sanders was joined by New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
It seems pretty clear to me, by the way, that Bernie Sanders is setting up AOC as his protege or is his, and you may not like that. And I understand why people don't like her. I get it. I think she's got bad advisors / bad instincts on a lot of shit. And I think it's because she's online too much. I think it's because she's online a little bit too much, a little bit too unfiltered. And I realized something about myself a long time ago is that I'm built different. But I shouldn't expect other people to be built the way that I'm built, which is when you start getting a lot of like negative feedback from a certain group, it is a natural human reaction to kind of like move away from that group. And a lot of people have a hard time accepting that that's just a completely natural organism's behavior. That's just like a biological imperative, basically. If you're getting a lot of pain from a direction, you move away from that. And so I'm not blaming the online left for her being shitty. I'm just saying that she doesn't have the... She acts in expected ways, okay? And that I think is bad for her because I think a lot of the criticism that she gets is actually valid, but presented in a very unpersuasive manner. So it's like I'm Larry David going like this the whole time. Well-meaning white folk were the main financial backing to the Black Panthers free breakfast program. Make an effort to have wide appeal program. I mean, like, first of all, like I'm definitely much more. I don't believe in racial nationalist movements as liberatory. I that's just my personal opinion. Now, that being said, I know what black nationalism actually means. I'm not vouch. I know what it is. Okay, I support Black Panthers. I'm not a vouch. I'm not a white dummy like vouch. I'm just a white dummy in other areas. Okay. That being said, I really am an old school Marxist. The division in our society and the expression of power is based on class. Now, in America, and this is a very important corollary, in America, the color of your skin attaches a stigma. And in much of America, the color of your skin gives you your class identity. Now, it's not all white people are rich, and not all black people are poor. But in our society, especially in the South, the color became the stigma. And so that has to be rectified as well. We can't just ignore that. What do you think about the leaked JD Vance audio about Elon? I'm not aware of that. I didn't listen to it.
He has handed the keys of the federal government to Elon Musk and is selling off our country for parts to the richest people on the planet.
More than 30,000 people showed up for their joint appearance in Denver.
Look, as you know, when you run for president, you do a lot of rallies, and we've done a lot of big rallies. 32,000 people here is by far the largest rally I have ever done, and nobody's running for office. That tells you something.
So what are you trying to accomplish with this tour?
I'm trying to make it clear to the people throughout the world and throughout our own country that the American people are not going to sit idly by and allow Trump establish an oligarchic form of government where Musk and other billionaires are running our
Is there anybody who is like legitimate talking about this audio, or is it just like really good AI being leaked by dumbasses?
Government, and we're not going to sit back and an authoritarian form of society.
Like, this is raw news in politics. Like, this isn't exactly what I would call a reliable source. Do you know one of us on Hassan's stream the other day and said they're unemployed? I have no idea what you're talking about. That sentence makes no sense.
Undermining the Constitution, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and undoing what the founding fathers of this country did in the 1790s, separation of powers.
The IOF just murdered Hossam Shabat in Gaza. He was the guy in contact with Hassan. They literally murdered him via drone strike. Yeah. The journalist that Hasan was going to go to Gaza with was just killed by a drone strike. Yeah, I retweeted that earlier. I was going to get to that. But it's... I mean, yes, they would have killed Hasan if he'd gone to Gaza. Why so dankness? Thanks for the 50, man. And I think that one of the main things about Ethan Klein and Hila Klein is they just deny reality. Like, they have to. Basically, if you're going to defend what's going on in Israel or talk about anything but Israel, like in this conflict, you either have to just deny reality completely or you have to think it's good. And liberal Zionists deny reality and refuse to be corrected, right? And conservative Zionists say it's good. And that's what's so odd, right? Like, it isn't just that those of us who oppose what Israel's doing in Gaza and the West Bank and the Palestinian people are saying it. It's that conservatives are like, yes, we will exterminate them all. And yes, they have the right to rape the prisoners. And it's like, wait, can't you hear your own side, Hila? Can't you hear your own people? The people in government? Like, can't you, like, it's so odd. It's like you pretend that the only people saying what's going on to the Palestinians are Palestinians. It's just odd. Ethan is not a liberal Zionist when it comes to Israel. He's a conservative. Oh yeah, I know. I was just giving him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's a genocide. I think he knows he's lying. I mean, obviously.
Making sure that no one person had an extraordinary amount of power. And that is precisely what Trump is trying to do. He wants it all. He doesn't want Congress. He doesn't want the media. He doesn't want the judiciary. He wants all of the power. We cannot allow him to have that.
Well, I hear you telling people out there, fight back. What do you mean, though? How do they fight back?
Well, it's the question. We're working on it right now. But I think, first of all, coming here and showing the world that Americans are not going to sit back and take what Trump is doing is a good step forward. But obviously, what we need to do is what neither political party is capable of doing right now. And that is develop a strong grassroots movement prepared to run candidates, prepared to stand up and question candidates, demand responsibility from their elected officials to stand with working families and not just the 1%.
I've been covering you for a long, long time. I've heard you railing against millionaires and billionaires for a long time.
Hey, guess what?
Is it different?
Turns out a few other people are catching on to that, right? Yeah. I have been talking for many years about this country moving toward an oligarchy. And I think anybody who is not dumb, deaf, or blind
6 months, hell yeah,
is seeing precisely what is happening. Trump's inaugural, right behind them, 3 wealthiest guys in America. You know, Lincoln talked about a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Remember? Well, we got a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, and for the billionaire class. That's what we have.
So we're about 60 days into the Trump era, the second Trump era. How would you grade the Democratic Party's response?
Well, I would take us back even 2 years before that, before Trump was elected, and saying that it saddens me that when the Democrats had control of the Senate, they did virtually nothing for working people. And I have to say that I'm a member of the Democratic caucus as an independent, so I'm not going to lie to you and tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
And since then, do I think the Democrats have been effective in rallying the American people, in stopping Trump's movement toward oligarchy?
Evan Fist, thank you for the 20 tier ones. Hell yeah. Look at that, chat. We got a hype trade going on. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the stream by subscribing at tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3.
In authoritarianism? No, I don't.
Is there anything that you think Trump has done right?
Yeah. I mean, I think cracking down on fentanyl, making sure our borders are stronger. Look, nobody thinks that illegal immigration is appropriate. And I happen to think we need comprehensive immigration reform. But I don't think that it's appropriate for people to be coming across the border illegally. So we've got to work now on comprehensive immigration reform. The idea that Trump has...
By the way, chat, I'm going to say something completely surprising to you. If you have a border and people could just come in without any kind of controls, that will cause ecological catastrophe, that will cause exploitation to increase, human trafficking, because you're going from places where people do not have protections against those kind of there isn't environmental regulations there. You know, people will bring in all sorts of shit. They'll bring in invasive species. They will bring in agricultural products that have pestilence, like literally like blights and shit. They will bring in all sorts of shit. Like it's insane to not have any kind of checks as people go from one geographic region to another. That's not wrong. Okay, that's actually sane. All right, like Jesus fucking Christ. The second thing is illegal immigration is bad because that's what the capitalists want. They want you to be an illegal immigrant so that if you try to organize a union or you try to complain about not getting paid minimum wage or you try to complain to OSHA, they can call up ICE and get your ass deported. They love illegal immigrants because they can bring people in here to scab and cross picket lines because they're economically coerced. It's an insane anarchist position to be like, no, you should just ignore the way reality actually is and just say, oh, we should never have any kind of border controls, no matter how much damage it does to our environment or our ecology. We should just ignore that because I want to stand here and pretend like I know what I'm talking about. No, you fucking don't. Give me a fucking break. Now, that being said, I don't think you should ever give Trump credit. This is like giving ISIS credit. Like, what are you talking about, dude? What the fuck are you talking about? You don't have to hand it to Trump, ever. This is just called being dumb. All right? I want to defend the point of, yes, we should have some sort of controls to prevent ecological catastrophe and human trafficking and the use of coerced labor to undermine, the organizations of labor that exist in this country to create a hyper-exploited underclass. We shouldn't have that. And Bernie Sanders, that's what Bernie Sanders is talking about. He's not talking about we should have no immigrants because he's racist. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, give me a break. Like, give me a fucking break. Stop thinking like a fucking moron. All right? Like, Jesus Christ. Do you know what Joe Biden was trying to do? Joe Biden was literally trying to give ICE agents the power of the Gestapo. The way that, Donald Trump is ordering ICE agents to act right now, Joe Biden was trying to give them by law. Luckily, he failed. So that means that Donald Trump is just doing this shit illegally, but Joe Biden tried to make it legal in the first place.
I don't know what his latest numbers are. He wants to deport 20 million people.
What? There should be any borders. If you disagree, you're the lib. You're a fucking idiot. You're an actual idiot. You're an actual fucking moron. You're an actual fucking moron. Human beings have technologies like jet aircraft, which allow populations to transfer from one part of the world to the other in a single day. The problem, why is that a problem? Well, because, for example, there are agricultural, I don't want to destroy the ecology by somebody bringing fucking, an invasive species from one continent to another. Have you ever not heard about the Asian carp disaster that's happening in our country right now? Have you not heard of pestilences that spread from one place to the other? I don't want to destroy the ecology because you think that because of some sort of ideological insanity that we should never have any controls on people at all. You're insane. You're a fucking moron. You're a dipshit. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to destroy our biodiversity because you want to have this anarchist ideological position. We should absolutely have controls on people from transferring from one part of the world to the other. You're an idiot. You're an absolute fucking idiot. The second thing is, I want to live in a world, a unified one world government too. I do too. I want to have a unified world with no political constraints on people moving from one place to the other. I want to have even development across the world, right? That's my political goal. But it doesn't, what is the best way to achieve that goal? Is the best way to achieve that goal to cause mass migration of billions of people from underdeveloped regions to developed regions, causing mass disruption, ecological catastrophe, problems of social cohesion, empowering the far right? Or is it develop the underdeveloped places by ending exploitation and allow people to have freedom from a position of equality, and not freedom from the position of, if you live in this country, we get paid $1 an hour. If you move to this country, you get paid $25 an hour. Of course, people are going to move to the place where they go $25 an hour. But is that actually good for them or the human race? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Again, it's just baby shit. You're not thinking about stuff seriously. You're thinking stuff ideologically in a utopian way. You have to start thinking a little bit more practically. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. It's also a way of accepting Republican framing. I am not. In fact, Republicans don't want Bernie Sanders' immigration program. You understand that, right? Bernie Sanders' immigration program is, we have an economic migrant program where when migrants come to this country, whether they are H-1B visas or whatever, they don't have a position where their employer has power over them. And when they immigrate here, they join a union. When they immigrate here, they get paid minimum wage or whatever the prevailing wage is of their sector. And the demand for millions of people to flow to this country will be tremendously reduced when we're not sanctioning and waging war over the fucking country. Like, you're just not paying attention to reality. Most people don't want to move to America, you fucking chauvinist. Most people want to live where they are from with their families and the culture they're accustomed to, but they want to live a good, dignified life with economic prospects to improve their material condition. That's what people want. And I want to empower that. I don't want to be like, yes, move to America, the best nation in the world. No, that's fucking insane. Milton Friedman, an undocumented, what the fuck is this?
Look, for example, at the obvious, immediate, practical case of illegal Mexican immigration. Now, that Mexican immigration over the border is a good thing. It's a good thing for the illegal immigrants. It's a good thing for the United States. It's a good thing for the citizens of the country. But it's only good so long as it's illegal. That's an interesting paradox to think about. Make it legal, and it's no good. Why? Because as long as it's illegal, the people who come in do not qualify for welfare. They don't qualify for Social Security. They don't qualify for all the other myriads of benefits that we pour out from our left pocket into our right pocket. And so as long as they don't qualify, they migrate to jobs. They take jobs that most residents of this country are unwilling to take. They provide employers with workers of a kind they cannot get. They're hard workers. They're good workers. And they are clearly better off.
This is the average anarchist. Now, Milton Friedman is a fucking moron. Okay? Number one, he's wrong. Okay? What he's saying there at the end is Americans don't want to take these jobs. Why don't Americans want to take these jobs? Because they are underpaid. You cannot support yourself on that wage. That's why trust me, if you were offering people tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars to pick fucking fruit, they would pick fucking fruit. What he is saying is he's basically saying illegal immigration is good because we get to enslave these people and that helps the capitalists have more profits. But the thing is about this is he's wrong. Illegal immigration keeps productivity down. Why does illegal immigration keep productivity down? Because when you have an illegal immigrant, you have a hyper-exploited individual who is not subject to the labor laws. He's right about that. And so you are not incentivized to increase productivity per worker. So you're not investing in machinery. You're not investing in capital in boosting productivity, because if the wages were rising, then you would be incentivized to invest in productivity boosting, labor saving devices, therefore increasing productivity, requiring less people to do backbreaking work. But by importing illegal immigrants, you can make money without investing in those labor saving devices. That is the problem. This is why China is kicking our fucking ass. Because they're investing in capital. They're investing in the labor-saving devices. They're investing in productivity-boosting strategies. Again, a lot of anarchists are going to disagree with me. They're just going to say that borders are a scar on the world, and Mike's being a fascist again. And it's just like, no. I'm actually talking about how the world really works in our society today, not your imagined utopian future.
Who are in this country, who are undocumented. Well, you do that, you destroy the entire country. Because I got news for you, Trump's billionaire friends are not going to pick the crops in California that feed us. They're not going to work in meat packing houses. That's what undocumented people are doing. So we need a variety of programs, guest worker programs, but mostly comprehensive immigration reform.
But you know, illegal immigration, it exploded under Biden, and it had been high for times under Trump as well, but it exploded under Biden, and nothing was really done until his last year in office when he was...
Yep, should have done much better, no argument.
So realistically...
By the way, chat, we should have done a comprehensive immigration reform in his first 2 years at office, and we should have ended the sanctions on Venezuela and Cuba. What bothers me is that Bernie Sanders doesn't talk about that. And I think the reason why they don't is they're scared of being called like communists or something. They don't want to be associated with Cuba and Venezuela. But that's the reality.
Republicans control the House, they've controlled the White House, they control the Senate. So what realistically can be done?
Well, for major pieces of legislation, you still need 60 votes in the Senate. And let's be clear. I mean, we have picked many of the spots that I've gone to in Wisconsin, in Iowa, in Michigan. We chose them carefully.
Yeah.
And those are because they have Republican congressmen who won by small margins. Right now, I don't know what the number is. I think if 2 or 3 Republicans out of 200 and whatever it is, 18 or whatever they got, choose not to support giving tax breaks to billionaires and cutting Medicaid and education, we can defeat this big supplemental bill, the beautiful bill that Trump wants to see passed. So right now, what we're trying to do is put pressure on those congressional districts, demand that Republican Congress people sit down and talk to their constituents and explain why they think it's a good idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1% and cut veterans programs, cut Medicaid, cut Social Security, cut education.
You said that the passage of this bill, to the continuing resolution, was a absolute failure of Democratic leadership. Who are you talking about?
Well, Schumer is the leader of the party, and it should not have happened, period. No question about it. But, you know, when we talk...
I mean, they associate Bernie with Castro in his first run for president, so it's understandable, but he's wrong. Like, the reality of our immigration surge was a couple things. First, pent-up demand because of the pent-up demand of the COVID shutdowns, right? So, like, a lot of people who were trying to immigrate here or had legal asylum claims were stopped because of COVID. If somebody comes in here and their very first post is to just post art, that's probably a bot testing what they can get away with. Like, is it were you bored yesterday or?
Talk about Democratic leadership, we're talking about the Democratic Party in general. You know, so look, there's been nobody more critical of Chuck Schumer than I have been. And not just on this thing. But the bottom line is not just Chuck Schumer. It's not just Chuck Schumer. It is you got a Democratic Party in general that is dominated by billionaires, just as the Republican Party is, that is operates under the leadership of a bunch of inside the Beltway consultants, very well paid, who are
That's what I wonder. Then it's like, okay, Bernie Sanders, I completely agree with you. So why is the Democratic Party a good vehicle for what we're trying to do? I understand that if we run as a third party, we probably won't win a majority in our first run. That of course not. And if that were your standard, then you should never run as a third party, ever. And the Republican Party would not have formed. Maybe the gradual abolition of slavery would finally have completed this year. But, like, you have to be comfortable with risk because the status quo is riskier. The Democratic Party is riskier.
Way out of touch with the 32,000 people who are here today.
Ocasio-Cortez's criticism of Schumer has been harsher, fueling speculation she'll challenge him in the Democratic primary when he is up for re-election in 3 years. For his part, Sanders doesn't want to talk about whether or not Schumer should remain the Democratic leader in the Senate. And he got irritated when I asked him about the possibility of AOC running, abruptly getting up to end the interview.
Thanks, Vio.
Okay, you're out there with AOC today. Do you see her as a future of the progressive?
We have one of the untold stories of what's going on in current American politics, is that in the House of Representatives, you have dozens and dozens of strong, smart, disciplined, hardworking young people in the Progressive Caucus. And you know, way back when I first came to the Congress and the House, I helped form the Progressive Caucus. We had 5 people at that time. Now they got close to 100. So you got a whole lot of good people. Alexandria is extraordinary. I am so impressed by her work in Congress and she inspires young people all over the country.
Would you like to see her join you in the Senate?
Right now we have, as I said, just a whole lot of people in the Congress. Okay, Jonathan, thanks.
Wait, I got one more. This is important.
Well, I asked you.
Okay.
You know, you want to do nonsense, do nonsense.
No.
I don't want to talk about inside the Beltway stuff. I got 32,000 people.
I was just asking you about AOC because she was out there with you.
No, fine, but I don't want to talk about this. What was the last question?
I was just going to ask you one more question about you. I mean, that's all. I was literally your last.
What is your question?
Well, I mean, it's easier. I mean, I want to ask you about your future. This is the biggest crowd. You said you ran for president twice. This is the biggest crowd you've ever seen. Are we going to see you run again, or what's your future?
No, right now, I am very proud that the people of the state of Vermont sent me back to the Senate with 63% of the vote. Right now, I'm Vermont senator. That's what I do, and I'm very happy to do it. I am 83 years of age, and I'm tired.
All right, our thanks to Senator Sanders for taking the time to talk to us and for letting us.
This has always been my problem with Bernie Sanders. This has always been my kind of like critique of Bernie, or my, you know, and it's like Bernie Sanders needs to take that next step, which is you're 83 fucking years old. What do you have to lose? You just got reelected. Like what's the you know, you're going to be in the Senate until, you know, 2030 fucking 2. What do you have to lose?
It's the wind chill. Boom, 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 boom.
As you can see, that vandal badly damaged the car and spray painted the words, "Mike is a cheater," all over the vehicle. Well, the veteran who owns the car told us she has no idea who Mike is.
Mike.